Good morning, campers. Let's do a reading. I want to focus this week on the eclipse season. So I'm going to do a couple of readings for my different collectives, focusing on right now this first upcoming eclipse on September 7th. It's going to pull out everything out of us that needs to go, adjusting us, pushing us more towards that those northern nodes. If you want to know more about this, I've done a video, you can check it out on my YouTube, about the whole eclipse season. So what are the energies, what we have to watch out for. So today we're going to do what shadows will be pulled out of you for you to be get closer, get aligned, get closer to your destined path. I want to start from, as always, how are you feeling? So you know this is your reading. I was guided to use these as well. So let's see. How are you feeling, this collective? How are you feeling right now as you're watching this video? Where's your emotion? We have pain. Let's do a few more. Okay. We have pain, a bit of a conflicting emotions here. So let's see what comes through. We have pain. This is your first card. So you wouldn't be a happy camper right now. You would be going through something that's causing a bit of a distress, we have passion as your second card. So we're gonna confirm, but I'm hearing that maybe like a new connection, maybe you've met someone, maybe generically when it comes to passion, meeting people, love department, it's a place where you're not necessarily entirely happy. We have comfort and we do have happiness. I feel like we have a lot of red color, so it's making me think of a root chakra. So maybe your root chakra needs balancing as well. We're going to tap into your shadows in a moment. But I feel more than anything with that happiness that it's something that you want to achieve. It's like you want to achieve. I'm hearing that maybe there are certain things that you know that you would need to change, right? Step a little bit outside of your comfort zone, do things a little bit differently. So there's a bit of that awareness, but you're not necessarily pulling through with that action plan. Let's do determination. Maybe that's what's lacking. And if you've watched my stories as I talked about this eclipse, that's a very beautiful masculine quality that this eclipse will try to strengthen within us. Let's see, pain. We have surrender. We have surrender. To be honest, I'm not hearing the nicest emotion. So first thing that I want to say to you, give yourself grace. We are in the eclipse season, so be mindful of that. The eclipse is not here yet, but it is approaching. And these energies, and again, if you've watched my video, it started from the new moon in Virgo, 0 degrees on the 23rd of August. So since then, the energies are quite intense. So don't give in to it, right? Just try to really take a step back and with realization that it's just something that's gonna pass. Why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? Because I was hearing with this surrender and with this pain that you may be right now in this moment of your life that I don't want to say give up, maybe it's too much to say, but maybe you've been trying to find love, to find partnership. Maybe it's something that you're really craving in life and it hasn't been going the way you want it to. And I always say this to you guys, if we see repeating patterns, if we, people who say, why do I always attract this kind of man? Why do I always attract this kind of woman? Well, because it's you. The constant in this situation, it's you, right? So through shadow work, and I feel that in the back of your mind, you would know this collective. It's just that it ain't easy. It ain't easy. Passion. Anxiety. Maybe you are anxious attachment style. Maybe you jump into relationship very soon. Maybe you're one of those people that you crave it so much that you make people fit into your dream, into your mold. Maybe you are a bit of an anxious attachment style. We're going really strong for your first row. We have magic. That's on top of that comfort. I'm hearing something specific. Hold on, let me do one more. Happiness. And hunger. That's my longing card. So this is what I'm hearing, right? This is how you would feel about love in general relationship. I feel like you're someone that this would be one of your priorities. So you love love, you want love, you dream about love, you dream about finding your perfect partner. Maybe you even are someone who is very romantic. So in your mind, you would think that you want it all, that you have high standards, and maybe that's the reason that, you know, people are not able to match. I'm hearing even maybe you sometimes think to yourself that the way I love, nobody loves like that, and it's not true. There are many people on this world who love strongly, who love passionately, who love, but I feel like this collective, I don't want to trigger you, but we're doing shadow work. You know, if you watch me, you know that on this channel, we want to progress, we want to get better. Without shadow work, without looking in the mirror with that really sharp consciousness, you're not going to progress on your journey. You're going to stay in that karmic loop, right? So I feel that it's not really the intensity of your feelings and the strength of your love, but it's this. It's the anxiety, it's the anxious attachment style. That you jump into relationships, into situation in a very intense way. Because you want it, because you're in longing. And it's coming to my mind, you know what, in longing for happiness. Remember what I said to you guys when I was fasting, that you start when you don't have that food, you start to crave everything, even things that you don't normally eat. Like I'm a vegetarian, I was craving sausage, right? So it's and I said to you guys, I remember in one of my stories, that same thing happens with people who look for love out of the place of lack, out of the place of longing. You will take anything. Any person that is willing to, you know, date you and be there for you, and you're going to try to fit them into your mold because you want that love so much. You want that happiness so much. And you're thinking to yourself, you would be thinking to yourself, I don't want to lower my standard. I want to find that love. I don't want to settle, which is fine. It's an amazing mindset to want that magic. But you have to get out of your comfort zone to remove your shadows, because until we have heavy shadows, until we have that strong armor, until we have distorted attachment style, all universe is going to send to us is something to course correct. It's a lesson. And we talk about this a lot, especially in readings for, you know, collectives, or if you come to me for personal readings, people who want to seek for soulmates, who are done with karmic relationships, who want to be aligned with a true love. What do I always say to you? You're gonna have to embark on a journey of healing, on a journey of purge, on a journey of cleanse, on a journey of really finding your better self, your divinity, to remove the anxiety, the longing, the wanting. Because for as long as it's the fuel that you're missing, right? You gotta have to learn to alchemize certain things on your own, because if not, all you're gonna find is codependency that will feed your anxiety, that will temporarily feel like it feeds your longing, but it's still gonna be there. I want to do a couple of these just to confirm. And then we're going to jump into eclipse shadow work. That's nice. Maybe one more. Okay. Let's see what we have. We have love. That's your first card. Confirmation. That would be your biggest dream. You know how I always say, whatever you crave more, that shooting star when you see it, those moments when you're allowed to make a wish, you would wish for love. You would want love. We have ascending, which is a good thing, and we also have bode. Bode means progression. So I feel like there is some sort of a contemplation on the way you do things, the way you are. And if you're watching, if you continue to watch, if you've watched up to this point, it means that you're not scared to admit that there are certain certain things that you need to course correct. Because if you truly, I always say this to you guys, the worst enemy of growth is denial. And people who really are in denial, they wouldn't even be watching videos like that. They would swipe. They would just want to watch those short tarot readings that say love is coming, love is behind the corner, and it's now, it's coming, right? They don't want to hear about work. They don't want to hear about, shadow work, change, transformation. They don't want to hear that it's them, that it's their fault, actually, that that they attract and they accept certain things in life that then they complain on. So the fact that you are progressing, you have progress in your energy, it's really beautiful. It means that you're ready, and if you're ready, you're in the right place, right? Seduction, palm tree, karmic relationships, stability, security, flirting, dating, attracting. Okay, I'm hearing a couple of things with these three. With the palm tree, I feel like you would want stability, right? So maybe you had some soulmates at the bottom of the deck. You have soulmates at the bottom of the deck. But on the table, we have karmic relationships so far. I feel like you do want to break the pattern. I feel like you do want to learn. You do want to progress. You want to remember what I mentioned, people who finally realize that something has been wrong. Something has been wrong in my relationship. So what do I do now? How do I really find that soulmate? How do I attract that soulmate, right? It's coming to my mind. If you're interested, I do have a sort of a self-paced program, attunement and masterclass, magnetizing your soulmate. So if you're interested, you can check that out on my website. But back to your actual shadows and the actual things that you need to work on. I feel you are now in this place when you are a little bit like, enough is enough. I don't want another failure of a relationship, right? I want something stable. I want something permanent. I want someone that will grow with me, someone that will last, someone that will bring that stability and security. Side note, you have to alchemize that energy within yourself, 222 on a timer first, but we'll talk about it in a moment. But I feel like in the same time, because you're still in that longing, because you're still wanting and really, really searching for love and for relationship, you do oftentimes would find yourself in karmic relationships, in relationships that maybe, there's this, with this seduction, it's like there's attraction, there's flirtation, but you're not giving it time to really get to know someone. I also have done a video recently. You can find it on my TikTok still. You wouldn't have to scroll too much, but it's also on my YouTube and Healing and Spirituality playlist about healthy dating. And I think it's such an important video to watch for people who are suffering a little bit for anxiety and longing, really wanting that love, and also people who want to break the pattern and want to be aligned with a soulmate, because it sort of explain how healthy dating should look like, why we should approach this slow and steady. But you have to remove this to be able to approach this slow and steady. Because if you don't approach it slow and steady, if we go from a 0 to 100, you start to build up expectation, you start to make assumptions, you create your own scenarios in your head, you fit that person into the mold of what you want, and then you get disappointed because you don't even know who they are. Because when we are in a lot of longing, I'm not saying it's a case for all of you, but it may be for some of you. When we are in a lot of longing, sometimes we're in so much longing for love, for relationship, for being with someone, that we don't really care truly about the depths of a person that the person in front of us is. Do you know what I mean? It's like we have a little chemistry, we have a little flirtation, let's go, let's do this, let's have this relationship. And oftentimes, unfortunately, it's more women. It's a distortion in the feminine energy that wants to entrap that man without them knowing. It may not be malicious, but it's like you want that stability, that commitment, right? And you're not even allowing this person to really be who they are in front of you, right? So just watch out. You may also be attracted, people who are in that kind of longing, you may be attracted to that seduction, that flirtation, because it gives you validation, because it gives you feeling that you're wanted, that you're needed, that someone right? Someone is interested, and it's sort of a boost that adrenaline. Why? Because you're anxious and because you're in longing, right? So we need to address these things. We really need to um I'm hearing, you know what, there's, when people are like this, when people have anxiety, when people really long for love, sometimes they have friends who are very distorted and give the most ridiculous advice. And I just heard this, so I'm gonna say it because maybe someone said this to you, that a remedy for behavior like this is to date a couple people in the same time. No. No, it is lack of respect towards yourself, towards the energy of another person. And I captured this all in that video that I've mentioned to you. So go ahead and watch that on my YouTube. But don't do that. It's not going to help you. It's going to multiply this. It's going to confuse you more. What you need to do is address these shadows. Really understand, where is my anxiety coming from? Where is my lack mentality coming from? How can I really alchemize certain emotions and certain feelings? Because when we talk about love and we talk about dating, if you really think about this, especially people who are still in some level of lack, what you want is the feeling that the person causes within you, right? So us women, we like to feel romanticized. We like to feel special. We like to feel conquered. We like to feel that we can, drop into that soft feminine space in the arms of a man who is the protector and the provider and the builder of stability, and who protects our heart, and we can feel safe and secure, right? We want to feel special. We love these, romantic moments, flowers and sweet words, and reading poetry together, whatever is it that floats your boat. But it's a feeling that is a feeling. It can be created from within. You can do more. There's a reason I'm saying this to you. Maybe it's your first step. We're going to tap into the guidance now, but to romanticize your life, to do these things for yourself, to take yourself out, right? If you really believe it's going to be something, it's going to sound very weird, okay, for you, and for the right collective, it will make sense. If you really have destined connection, higher soulmate, and my universal truth, as a reader of love, reader of divine love, goddess of love, you know that I believe that we all have our higher soulmate on our highest, most aligned timeline. All of us. We all have. Not many people reach there because getting out of your comfort zone and shadow work is required for most, right? But we all have that perfect mate that is out there somewhere. And because we're always connected through threads, in case of soulmates, you're connected through destined threads. If you really have the potential to reach that highest, most aligned timeline, your soul feels this person. Your soul remembers them, right? Your soul, it's a funny thing. This is why people don't know that, and people treat it as if sort of a shallow thing. But this is also why we have our type, right? Because our soul, before incarnating, they knew how our perfect mate would look like, right? So this is why you, for example, like men who are, let's say, skinny and tall, or you like, if you're a man, if you like women who are, for example, short and they're blonde and they have curly hair, because there's something in your blueprint that knows, right? So it's not really shallow. It's the voice from within that is trying to help you to remember how they actually look like, right? So if you really are romantic, if you really believe, if you're here up to here, you would, in soulmates and destined connections, you are on some level already connected to this person. It's not like you're going to fall in love with them. The moment you meet, you're just going to start to remember that you've loved them. Because with our soulmates, with our true soul connections, we've lived many lifetimes. So your soul already knows this person. So try to bring them into your energy without trying to look for them in random people. As you're on your own, try to bring them into your energy. What would you talk about? What would you do together in the house? Would you watch a movie? Would you cook together? Would you go for a walk? Talk to them. Their higher self is out there. Their higher self is out there. It sounds a little crazy, but But I feel like for this collective, it could really help you with that longing to really connect to the energy of someone that is out there for you instead of trying to make other people that. Do you know what I mean? Does it make sense? All right. All right. All right, let's tap into what will come through in this eclipse season so you can watch out what shadows will be illuminated for this collective. Okay, we have throat chakra, shadow work, confirmation, boundaries. People with unhealthy attachment style usually don't have these. I'm going to do 2 more. I'm guided to do 2 more. Seek your purpose. And heart chakra. Okay. All right, so let's see, what do we have? What I want to address first is that we have the first card in the deck, which is shadow work, right? Shadow work. I feel this collective, you really need to embark on this journey. Now, there's many ways you can do this. I always say to you guys, the best one, my universal truth, is to actually work with a professional. So someone who is a shadow worker. So either you resonate with someone who is like myself, psychic medium. If you feel like signing up for a session, link is in my bio. You can do it through my website. If you feel that you don't resonate with that energy, however, you're watching a tarot reading, so surely you are spiritual. But if you prefer, you can embark on this journey with a good therapist as well. Probably most therapists, I always say this, when people who are spiritual, it's difficult because they're very much in the matrix. Therapists are very much in their mind. So you would need to find someone who actually is spiritual, because if you're going to start talking about destiny and soulmates, which is something that I, truly believe in and have faith in, a therapist may not, react in a nice way. There's a reason it's coming to my mind. Maybe you actually tried therapy and you didn't resonate. There are therapists that are spiritual and divine feminines who are therapists, but it's not as easy to find that energy. You can also do it on your own. You can start to do it on your own through a variety of exercises. In the pack, soulmate pack that I mentioned to you guys, the attunement with a masterclass, I do have some self-paced exercises that you can start doing to dive into that shadow work. Even buying, cards like this, or oracle cards, or reading some self-help books. It really depends on how you feel comfortable, right? How you feel. In the end, shadow work is just a deep analysis of your behaviors, of your triggers, of your past, of things that are happening, right? So it's always more effective and easier to do this with a specialist. But I know that some people feel very intimidated by this, right? Because it can be a difficult work. So just start. Find whatever way works best for you, whatever makes you feel comfortable. But you need to do this in order to ever be aligned with a soulmate. This collective, if the first part of this reading resonated, you really do have to address certain things, because all you're going to find is going to be a karmic, because you're coming from a place of lack, you're coming from a place of longing, from a place of hunger, from a place of anxiety, right? So you need to address these things. We have boundaries as well. This is number 50. Boundaries is something that usually, healthy boundaries, it's very important. People who have unhealthy attachment style, they usually don't have it, right? So people who are anxious, they think they have boundaries, but what they have is, people who are avoidant, they think that they have boundaries, but what they have is avoidance, and they just run away. And people who have anxiety usually don't have boundaries. You allow everything. So for as long as someone is fitting into your dream of love and falling in love and finding that love, you usually just have no boundaries. And even whether you want to accept it or not, you allow this person to do absolutely whatever with you because you have anxiety, right? So I want to read through this because this is important. And the element of self-love, it's something that you need to work as well, this collective. Boundaries are protective shield for our energy and identity. Without this shield, we can easily lose ourselves to needs and opinions and expectations of others. Your life is to be lived by you and for you. When we love ourselves truly and deeply, boundaries are set naturally and effortlessly with no guilt or shame. Through self love, we can feel safe enough in our authenticity and independence to put up boundaries, knowing that whatever and whoever is in true alignment with us will respect them unconditionally. Check in with yourself where you may be still giving away your power and sacrificing your needs to please others and to seek approval. So really think about this. And boundaries is something that we can train. When you do suffer from anxious attachment style, it's going to be the hardest to train them in romantical, partners and romantical connections. But you can train your boundaries with your family, with strangers on the street, with your friends, right? So just examine, do you really know who you are in your heart? Do you really protect that energy of yours? Do you really say no to the things that you're not comfortable with? And that's the issue oftentimes in these kind of karmic relationships. When you are anxious, when you really crave love, when you are hungry for love, when you are in longing for a partner, you don't even know. And oftentimes those kind of people, maybe it's a case for some of you, you've never really truly been on your own. So you don't really know what would you do with yourself, with your time, what you like to, those kind of people that go from relationship to relationship and they always change and adjust in that relationship, what they wear, what they eat, how they spend their free time. It's not true relationship, it's codependency. You have to figure out who I am. What do I like to do in my free time? What do I like to eat? What is my personal style? What is my aspirations for my lifestyle, for my future? And once you anchored in that energy, that's where you actually are ready to seek for a partner, because you're gonna strongly love that life that you've created for yourself, that you're not just gonna take anyone and make it fit. It will have to be someone that will actually do, you know what I mean? So boundaries and self-love are important here for this collective. We have seek your purpose. I feel that more than anything with this card, they wanting you to really focus on something else. And I feel it's what I mentioned, right? So your focus would be, again, you would be thinking about, your loneliness, wanting to be with someone. You would be dreaming about a partner. I feel like most of you can be actively dating, right? But try to just distract yourself. Find something different. Romantical love is really, it's beautiful. And again, I'm a reader for love, so I would know this, right? I love love. Love is beautiful. Romantical love is beautiful. But it's not really all that is in this life. There's so many things that we can do, that we can pursue. We can have our personal mission, we can have some aspirations, we can have some hobbies, passions, dedicate ourselves to our friends and family, to ourselves as well. So try to really focus. And I would say, especially if you are really dating right now, we're going through this eclipse season, take a little break. Okay, don't go out, don't date. Don't go out into those places that, like, even bars with friends to seek, something. Focus on you. Do things that really bring you joy. You. Forget for a moment that romantic love exists. Okay, and we have heart chakra and we have throat chakra. What I'm hearing with these two is that your heart chakra needs still a little bit of healing, because you are now in a place of disappointment. And if you were to come on session with me, that I would tell you that one of the first steps, when we're taking someone out of karmic relationships and karmic patterns onto the journey of trying to seek that soulmate, right? One of the things that we have to do is we have to close the past. So for as long as you had that in your energy in the beginning, you remember that you are in pain, you are in disappointment, you are thinking that maybe love hurts, maybe you have to settle, maybe that true love doesn't exist. As long as you think that, your subconscious mind will be pushing you to settle. So you need to heal your heart.